Hello everyone, welcome back to Genomic Science. Today we are diving into something fascinating and very useful in medicine, which is the proton pump inhibitors, as we often call them the PPIs. Let me walk you through what they are, how they work, and some examples of amazing drugs. So first of all, what is proton pump inhibitors? The PPIs are simply a group of medication that help to reduce the amount of acid produced in the stomach. They are like superheroes of people with these related problems. These drugs are commonly used in problems like the gastric ulcer, the GERD, which is known as the gastroesophageal reflux disease, Zollingers-Ellison, and even to protect the stomach from damages caused by certain painkillers known as the NSAID, which is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Now let's look at how the proton pump inhibitors, meaning we're going to look at the mechanism of action. To understand their action, let's first talk about the stomach acid production. Basically, the stomach acid production starts in the lining of the stomach. There are some special cells which we call the parietal cells. This cell has what we call the pump, or you can call it the proton pump, also known as the hydrogen ion, potassium ion ATPase pump. Notice that this pump is responsible for releasing hydrogen ions. When it releases hydrogen ions into the stomach, the hydrogen ion is simply going to combine with chloride ion to form what we call the hydrochloric acid. And notice that, as the name suggests, hydrochloric acid is toxic. Now here's the clever part. The proton pump inhibitors basically work by blocking this proton pump, which stops the production of acid at its source. By doing so, this reduces the amount of acid in the stomach, giving the stomach lining time to heal, and relieving symptoms like the heartburn and pain. If you really want to understand this properly, I'm going to drop a link down below, which I call the hydrochloric acid secretion. Basically, it's supposed to be in physiology, actually. A quick review again. We said the production of hydrochloric acid takes place in the lining of the stomach. We have special cells called the parietal cells. This cell, the reaction inside this cell, with an enzyme which we call the carbonic anhydrase, produce what we call two components. It converts carbon dioxide with water into bicarbonate and hydrogen ion. The hydrogen ion has to move from the cell into the stomach. From our bloodstream, we're going to have the chloride ion, which will combine with hydrogen ion to form what we call the HCl. HCl is an acid and toxic. Overproduction of this basically causes a problem. But the proton pump inhibitors, they target this cell, which is the hydrogen ion, potassium ion ATPase. Now let's look at some examples of most common proton inhibitors which you might have heard of. But to make it ridiculously easy, I'm simply going to use this mnemonic. This is how it goes. But before then, notice that the proton pump inhibitors they end with what we call the prazole. This is the mnemonic: possible, oral. The P standing for pantoprazole. Prazole. Here is our prazole. And the R stands for rabeprazole. And here we have the O, which stands for omeprazole. And here we have the L, which stands for lansoprazole. And here we have the E, which is prazole, which is esomeprazole. Let me take a very quick review. We said the proton pump inhibitors they end with prazole. Example, we have the omeprazole, esomeprazole, lansoprazole, pantoprazole, and rabeprazole. Notice that all these drugs work in similar way, but they may vary slightly in how long they last or how quickly they start working. So, but what if you ask, why are proton pump inhibitors so important? Notice that the proton pump inhibitors have revolutionized the treatment of acid-related. Instead of just neutralizing the acid like what antacid does, they stop its production, which make them much more effective for long time and relief. So, what if we talk about the side effect, possible side effect? The proton pump inhibitors are generally safe, but like all medication, they have some side effects, which include the headache, nausea, diarrhea, and notice that long-term use may lead to issues like vitamin B12 deficiency or high risk of infection. Since we said the production of hydrochloric acid in the stomach is very important, because hydrochloric acid does three things, which is protecting us from bacteria, particularly harmful bacteria, and breaking down of food particles, etc., etc. So this is it for this problem. I hope you find it very helpful. Please, if you do, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Thank you, and see you next time. Hello.